On the morning of December 9th, 1965, residents of western Pennsylvania and nearby states witnessed a strange object streaking across the sky. Reports described a fiery acorn-shaped object, glowing orange and moving at incredible speed. Witnesses from Ohio to New York watched as it descended, eventually landing in the woods near the small town of Kecksburg, Pennsylvania. At first, people assumed it was a meteor or a plane crash, but as locals approached the site, it became clear this was something unusual. The object was metallic, roughly the size of a Volkswagen Beetle, and bore strange markings that no one could identify. Some witnesses reported hieroglyphic-like symbols etched into its surface. By the afternoon, the scene had become chaotic. Local residents tried to get closer, but authorities quickly intervened. Pennsylvania State Police arrived, and soon after, the U.S. military entered the area. Witnesses described armed personnel cordoning off the forest and removing the object under strict security protocols. The sudden presence of the military fueled speculation. If this was just a meteorite, why such secrecy? Television and newspaper coverage at the time were limited. The local press reported on a mystery object, but had little official information. The Air Force initially claimed the object was a re-entering Soviet satellite, part of the failed Cosmos 96 mission, but no evidence ever fully substantiated this claim. For decades, the Kecksburg incident remained shrouded in mystery. Witnesses described the object being loaded onto a flatbed truck and taken to an unknown destination. Questions about who handled it, where it was taken, and what was learned from it were never publicly answered. The secrecy surrounding the incident only intensified public interest. UFO researchers, journalists, and amateur investigators pored over witness testimonies, photographs, and local reports. Some accounts suggested the military acted as if the object was of alien origin, with personnel visibly cautious and careful when handling it. Even today, the story of Kecksburg is emblematic of Cold War UFO phenomenon, an unexplained object, multiple eyewitnesses, and the intervention of military forces in a manner that suggests a level of knowledge beyond what was publicly acknowledged. Theories abound. Some insist the object was extraterrestrial, a craft that defied conventional engineering and design. Others argue it was a secret U.S. or Soviet experiment, a satellite, missile component, or high-tech aircraft. But the details remain elusive, and the mystery persists. Kecksburg is more than a local legend. It is a case study in secrecy, observation, and the lengths governments may go to control information. Witnesses recall a scene that was part awe-inspiring, part terrifying, a moment when the unknown briefly intersected with the ordinary lives of small-town America. As the object rested in the wooded area outside Kecksburg, local authorities struggled to control the growing number of curious residents. People were drawn by the glow and the strange hum that some reported emanating from the object. Rumors spread rapidly that it was a downed satellite, a secret missile, or something far stranger. Within hours, military personnel arrived. Witnesses described soldiers and men in plain clothes moving swiftly, cordoning off the area and instructing locals to leave. Cameras were forbidden, and anyone attempting to get close was warned to retreat. The rapid response suggested that the object, whatever it was, held significance beyond ordinary understanding. Eyewitnesses reported unusual markings on the object, geometric designs and symbols that no one could identify. Some claimed to see a metallic surface that shimmered unnaturally in the sunlight, reflecting a bronze or copper hue. Others noted that the object seemed to have landed deliberately, as if controlled, rather than crashing in a random trajectory. Accounts of what happened next vary. Some witnesses said the military used cranes and trucks to remove the object carefully. Others described it being loaded into a covered vehicle, as if to conceal its true form. There are even claims that personnel were cautious, handling the object as if it were fragile or hazardous, further fueling speculation about its origin. The Air Force quickly issued a statement claiming the object was a re-entering Soviet satellite, part of the Cosmos 96 mission. Yet this explanation failed to satisfy local residents or UFO researchers. No documentation, photographic evidence, or corroboration confirmed the claim. Skeptics pointed out inconsistencies in the timing, trajectory, and appearance of the object, suggesting that the official story did not align with witness reports. Investigations in the following decades revealed more conflicting details. Interviews conducted with witnesses years later highlighted discrepancies in what was seen, the sequence of events, and even the level of military involvement. Some recalled a low-flying helicopter, others remembered armed trucks. Some described multiple objects, while official records spoke of only one. Despite the confusion, a few details remain consistent across accounts. The object was acorn-shaped, metallic, and landed near Kecksburg. Military personnel appeared quickly and acted with urgency. The object was removed from the site under strict supervision, leaving the public with little to investigate firsthand. The Kecksburg incident has been revisited by journalists, UFO researchers, and government archivists. Freedom of Information Act requests produce declassified documents, but none conclusively explain the object's origin or purpose. Satellite re-entry data, weather records, and contemporary news reports offer partial context, yet the story remains unresolved. This combination of eyewitness testimony, military secrecy, and unresolved anomalies is what continues to make Kecksburg compelling. It sits at the intersection of Cold War paranoia, human curiosity, and the possibility that something beyond conventional understanding briefly entered our world.
In the decades following the incident, Kecksburg transformed from a small Pennsylvania town into a focal point for UFO researchers and enthusiasts. Investigators, journalists, and amateur sleuths descended on the area, interviewing witnesses and poring over archived materials. Their goal was simple: uncover the truth behind the mysterious acorn-shaped object. Witnesses consistently recalled the military's rapid response and the precision with which the object was removed. Some described soldiers covering it with tarps. Others claimed that it was loaded onto specialized trucks. One thing everyone agreed on was the sense of urgency. The military acted as if the object was far more valuable or dangerous than the public could understand. Researchers sought to verify the Air Force's claim that the object was a re-entering satellite from the failed Cosmos 96 mission. While some aspects of the trajectory aligned, experts noted major discrepancies in timing, appearance, and behavior. Cosmos 96, they argued, should have burned up upon re-entry or been invisible to the naked eye. The brightness, acorn shape, and sudden landing defied conventional explanations. Over the years, new theories emerged. Some argued the object was extraterrestrial, pointing to the strange symbols and deliberate landing pattern. Others proposed it was a secret American or Soviet craft, part of covert Cold War experiments. Whatever the explanation, the object remained inaccessible and the military offered little clarity. Public scrutiny intensified in the 1990s when declassified documents and media coverage brought Kecksburg back into the national conversation. The incident was featured in newspapers, television documentaries, and eventually online forums. Eyewitnesses were interviewed decades after the fact, describing the same glowing acorn-shaped object and military intervention they had witnessed as children or young adults. Local legends grew alongside the facts. Kecksburg became a pilgrimage site for UFO enthusiasts, complete with annual gatherings, museum exhibits, and reenactments. The town itself embraced its place in UFO history, even as skeptics insisted that the object had mundane origins. The tension between belief, speculation, and official explanation became part of the story itself. Government archives continue to fuel debate. Freedom of Information Act requests revealed some documentation of Air Force investigation, but much remains classified or redacted. The records confirmed a recovery operation and military presence, but they do not conclusively explain the object's origin or characteristics. The Kecksburg UFO remains an enduring mystery because it exists in the space between certainty and speculation, Multiple credible witnesses, military involvement, and unresolved questions give it weight beyond folklore. At the same time, decades of investigation have produced no definitive evidence, leaving room for interpretation, debate, and imagination. For some, Kecksburg is proof that something extraterrestrial entered our world, a craft, perhaps alien in origin, that defied conventional explanation. For others, it is a Cold War anomaly, an unexplained object misidentified or deliberately shrouded in secrecy. Either way, the story continues to captivate those drawn to the unknown. Modern investigations have added layers of complexity to the Kecksburg incident. Researchers have revisited witness accounts, cross-referenced declassified military documents, and examined photographic evidence, all in search of clarity. While some mysteries have been partially explained, others remain as elusive as they were in 1965. One point of focus has been the supposed recovery operation. Documents indicate that the Air Force was involved in transporting an unidentified object, yet the details are vague. The object's precise location, the personnel involved, and its ultimate destination remain subjects of speculation. Some investigators suggest it was taken to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, a facility often linked to UFO studies. Others argued that no credible documentation confirms this claim. Media coverage has kept Kecksburg in the public eye. Documentaries, news specials, and investigative series have interviewed surviving witnesses, highlighting their consistent descriptions of the acorn-shaped object, the strange markings, and the swift military response. Television specials often juxtapose eyewitness testimony with expert analysis, showing both the human and technical dimensions of the incident. Conspiracy theories have flourished. Some claim that Kecksburg was an extraterrestrial craft, possibly a reconnaissance vehicle sent to Earth for observation. Others suggest that it was a secret Cold War project, perhaps a satellite or experimental aircraft, and that the government's story was deliberately obfuscated to protect national security. Online forums and UFO conventions continue to discuss, dissect, and debate these possibilities, keeping the incident alive in contemporary culture. Skeptics argue for simpler explanations. Meteors, satellite debris, or experimental rockets could account for the fiery streaks seen across multiple states. Yet these theories struggle to explain the detailed eyewitness accounts of a landed metallic object with strange markings and the rapid, coordinated military response. The tension between mundane explanations and extraordinary claims is central to Kecksburg's enduring fascination. The human dimension is also important. For witnesses, the event was unforgettable, a moment when the ordinary world intersected with the inexplicable. Residents recall feelings of awe, confusion, and even fear. Children who witnessed the event grew up retelling the story, keeping the memory alive and contributing to the town's identity. Kecksburg remains a case study in the intersection of observation, secrecy, and public perception. It challenges researchers to balance evidence, witness testimony, and historical context. It reminds us that even in a world increasingly documented and surveilled, mysteries persist. Moments when events unfold beyond our full understanding, leaving questions that endure for decades. The continued fascination with Kecksburg underscores the human desire to understand the unknown. Whether interpreted as extraterrestrial, military, or natural, the incident speaks to curiosity, imagination, and the profound impact of witnessing something unexplained. It is a story of secrecy, speculation, and wonder, a story that, more than 50 years later, remains unresolved.
Over the decades, Kecksburg has become a cultural touchstone in the world of UFO research. The town itself embraces its place in history, hosting annual gatherings that draw enthusiasts, researchers, and curious visitors from around the world. These events feature lectures, reenactments, and exhibitions that explore the incident from multiple perspectives. The Kecksburg UFO has inspired documentaries, television specials, and countless articles. Filmmakers often highlight the combination of eyewitness testimony, military secrecy, and lingering mystery, crafting narratives that balance suspense with investigative detail. The incident has become a template for exploring how ordinary people intersect with the extraordinary. The story also resonates because it touches on universal questions. What is out there beyond what we can see? And how do governments respond when confronted with the unknown? Kecksburg is emblematic of these questions, illustrating the tension between observation, secrecy, and the human desire for answers. In popular culture, the Kecksburg incident has influenced books, television series, and even fictionalized accounts of UFO encounters. It has become part of a larger narrative that includes Roswell, Rendlesham Forest, and other unexplained phenomena. Each story reinforces the others, creating a tapestry of encounters that continues to captivate the public imagination. The ongoing fascination is fueled in part by the incomplete official record. Despite decades of research, documents, and witness testimony, no definitive conclusion has emerged. The Air Force and other agencies have provided explanations, yet questions remain unanswered. This ambiguity allows the story to evolve, with new theories, interpretations, and analyses emerging regularly. Kecksburg also serves as a case study in collective memory and community identity. Residents who witnessed the event, or grew up hearing about it, have shaped the town's reputation and cultural narrative. The incident has become a source of pride, intrigue, and even tourism, demonstrating how extraordinary events can influence both perception and economy in small communities. For researchers, Kecksburg remains a compelling challenge. It offers a rare combination of multiple credible eyewitnesses, military involvement, and physical traces, making it richer than many UFO cases that rely solely on anecdote. The mixture of documentation, conflicting accounts, and enduring secrecy provides fertile ground for investigation, debate, and storytelling. Ultimately, the Kecksburg UFO is more than a single event. It is a story of human curiosity, the search for truth, and the encounter with the unknown. It reflects our desire to understand the unexplained and our fascination with what might lie just beyond the limits of perception. 50-plus years later, the incident continues to captivate, inspiring researchers, storytellers, and the public alike.
If you enjoyed today's video, we thank you very much. Please like and subscribe to Rare Breed Chronicles. And let's dive into another story that defies the ordinary.